Our society has heavily intertwined the idea of fate and free will into how we should live our lives. However, what is the line between fate and free will, and can one become the other? This is what will lead to our inquiry question: does intentionally following your fate make it free will?
Song of the Open Road by Walt Whitman. The past, the future, majesty, love, if they are vacant of you, you are vacant of them. If you choose to be vacant of aspects of destiny, like your future or your past, etc., then you no longer have destiny, but rather free will. When you consciously choose to make those decisions and be vacant of them, then you are using your free will.
Was this my destiny? Wait, maybe it was. Being bad is the one thing I'm good at. Then it hit me. If I was the bad boy, then I was going to be the baddest boy of them all. I was destined to be a supervillain, and we were destined to be rivals. So, this is how it ends. Normally, I'd chalk this up to my last glorious failure. But not today. What can I say? Old habits die hard. Funny, I guess destiny is not the path given to us, but the path we choose for ourselves.
This video shows that Megamind early in his childhood realizes that it is his destiny to be a bad guy, so he decides to live life as a bad guy. This is no longer actually his destiny because it is his free will that is influencing his life, not his destiny. He is actively choosing to be bad. We can clearly see that this is a free will choice he was making because by the end of the movie, he changes his path and he chooses to be good. If he was truly destined to be bad, he wouldn't have been able to choose to be good in the end. This shows that destiny becomes free will ultimately when someone is aware of it and taking actions for or against it. Megamind realized he could be vacant of his destiny and choose to be good, just like the poem illustrates.
Walt Whitman's poem, Song of Myself, focuses on the connection between the soul and the body. Whitman writes about where the soul goes once the body has physically died. Quote, "They are alive and well somewhere. The smallest sprout shows there is really no death, and if ever there was, it led forward life, and does not wait at the end to arrest it, and cease the moment life appeared." End quote. This stanza exemplifies Whitman's philosophy of life after death. While our souls may not be physical, they are present somewhere. Rebirth is present in our lives through the first sprout of green grass after winter. If there truly was death, it would be our souls going back to the collective, like a raindrop going back to a body of water. Having personally experienced a loved one's death, I feel that this idea of our souls going back to the collective can be seen as fate. However, I wonder, when souls are connected, are they able to connect with one another before going to the collective? Since my birth, I've always had a strong connection with my great-grandma. We had these small things that could not only be coincidences. We had the same birthday, the same personality, and even the same hands. Since her death, I have thought about what I wish I could have done with her, but now I also wonder if I can meet her again once I die and experience the idea of life after death. Following Whitman's philosophy, since all souls go to the collective, would I be able to connect with her before I have to go to the collective? By knowing these small coincidences that I share with my great-grandma, which we deemed as fate, could that possibly allow us to connect before joining the collective? If so, by making the conscious decision of having my soul meet with hers, that means I would be intentionally following my fate. However, since I chose that decision, it would also mean that I was actively deciding to follow my fate through free will, rather than rejecting said fate.
My ancestors had been for many years counselors and syndics, and my father had filled several public situations with honor and reputation. In Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, she describes how Victor Frankenstein's father and grandfather were magistrates of the court from the very beginning. It is implied in the novel that he is fated to follow suit, and he knows it. Instead, he chooses to follow a different path in science. If he were to fulfill his fate, it would be as a result of free will, because he knows the destiny that lies upon him and is choosing to still follow it. But even the opposite is true when he willingly chooses not to follow in his father's footsteps. The implication of this is that even when you are fated for something, knowing that you are gives you the free will to either fulfill or reject it. For example, you have the British monarchy. In it, the royals are meant to take a title and fulfill duties for the royal family. If we look at Prince Harry, he was supposed to take the His Royal Highness title when he got married, but 2 years after his marriage, he and Meghan chose to no longer use the title and no longer be working members of the royal family, basically announcing their decision to step back as senior members of the royal family. Here, even though Harry knows his fate as a family member in the royal family, he chose to separate himself from them with his wife. Again, this shows that even knowing your fate, it becomes free will when you choose for or against it.
Going back to our inquiry question, does intentionally following your fate make it free will? We can see by exploring numerous perspectives on fate and free will that when an individual knows their fate and it motivates their choices, then it becomes free will and they make decisions that reflect an opportunity of choice. The simple act of having a choice is what indicates free will. Understanding if fate or free will is the motivator of our choices is crucial to identify because it can help us avoid crediting certain events in our lives to fate and realize it was free will that caused it.